Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Silent Podcast. We're going to be covering episode 4 of Survivor South Africa, and I'm your host, Sasha Joseph, with my co host and my podcast alliance, and could have been my real life alliance this weekend. But anyway, Jason, how are you?
Hey, everybody, I'm doing really well. Excited to talk about this wonderful episode full of strategy. And I also want to, from the start, wish Sasha a happy birthday from this past weekend. So I hope we can hear about some of your celebrations throughout this episode. And I'm curious to hear
Thank
what
you.
you thought about it.
Thank you. Yes, the reason I said Jason and I could have been an actual alliance is because my husband actually for my 30th birthday this weekend planned a custom amazing race for me and like about things I like and had my friends surprise me along. So Jason was supposed to come to the Bay Area, but weather is now my new villain or the new I don't know, my new like
So you can catch
nemesis.
Mother Nature and I on Rivals Season 4.
Yes.
We're going to be paired up. And Sasha, unfortunately, didn't win the Amazing Race Challenge this weekend because I wasn't her partner. So
Yeah. I was
next
too
time.
excited. I was too busy being excited by all the like fun happening. But anyway, I love this episode. I feel like it was one of the slower ones, but that's like not that's everything content is so high that even slow is still an amazing episode. And we were talking about this before the podcast started, Jason, so would love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, I feel like we're finally getting some kind of a foundation going, and we're finally seeing where maybe things are lining up a little bit with these players. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're seeing the foundation that's really fueled by Fresh Stop and this amazing reward that was in this
Yeah.
episode. I was happy to see alliances evolving, new bonds being formed, and I really enjoyed the challenges in this episode.
Yeah.
Both the reward challenge and the immunity challenge were action-packed, slow at times, but I really enjoyed them and the content and confessions that we got throughout the challenges.
Yes, I will say again, cast because to me usually when I'm taking notes like I'll be like, oh, they said this in a confessional and I'll kind of like move on. But this episode I feel like we were like really taking notes and like making sure, oh, this confessional is gold. We're actually getting strategy in the confessional and like it's almost telling a better story. So again, love what the edit is doing as well with all of this. But the raid is like where this episode kind of starts. So would love to hear your thoughts. What is your strategy, first of all, with the raid? If you're the raider.
I guess before I get into
Yes.
that, I just want to first say I loved that we saw the tree mail where they got to read
Oh,
about the
yes.
raid, and I'm just loving that they're showing tree mail in this season.
Mm-hmm.
So count me on that train. I think approaching the raid, I would have a similar strategy to them. You want to look for things that help you sleep, help you eat, and help you your quality of life overall. And I think those should be the 3 buckets that they're looking to fill. And they identified that. We're looking for food, for a machete, for a sleeping bag. I agreed with that decision. I also thought it was interesting that they didn't try to trick the other tribe because the last raid I remember was in Survivor Cagayan when my man Tony goes to that other beach and tries to, mess up Jeremy or Jeremiah and give him a fake clue and then go and take the clue back. And Dino is a strategist. I thought he might be coming up with something like this, but I think the other tribe's inability to negotiate and the fact that they hid everything took out all of his thunder. And he was not there to play games anymore. He was just there to steal and to raid the other tribe. What would you do? What would you go after first?
I very much agree. I think I would first figure out what is it that my tribe needs. How do I become the hero? And then second, I actually loved Anisu's strategy where Anisu immediately was like, well, I think a man and a woman should go, so I'm happy to go. But in reality, she's like, one, I want to check in and get FaceTime with people I haven't seen. And second, check in on my allies and see what the heck they're doing. So I would definitely use it as like, listen, we get what we get. I don't know that I would care so much about the stuff, but I want to like up my social capital and make sure I'm the hero and try to figure out like if I can get good stuff, basically, like good food. Because I was surprised they didn't ask for more of that nutrition smoothie or whatever from last week's reward. Like, they didn't, I feel like they didn't press a lot, or at least we didn't get that in the
When
edit.
it comes to that reward, I don't know how much was left because I think
Yeah.
Paul ate most of it.
That's very true. Well, not Anila, ate 2, right, of the 9
Yeah.
protein bars, and then everyone else must have ate those. So yeah, maybe you're right. And then I think they all drank the Capri Sun looking drink. So that's true. Maybe there wasn't a lot left. So yeah, I think 100% comfort items. If they have a tarp's for sure gone. There's no way that's staying. And then I think depends. Would you go out of your way to like dig around?
Yes. I feel it really took them off guard. They were not expecting Sean and Paul and the rest of them to hide things so actively. So I'm not sure how actively I would have dug for things because that puts a bigger target on yourself.
Yes.
And if you're digging through the dirt, looking for rice, looking for the machete, that's very obvious. It makes that tribe turn against you. And so I think I really would have had to play it by ear. I think Anesu's strategy was the best we saw her go to Paul, like, I'm still with you guys. That's probably what I would have done. Would have tried to have side conversations with people while my tribe ally was the one doing the negotiating.
Yeah, and I think I would be like, take me around camp. Would love to see what you have going on as an Anisu because she hasn't been there yet. So I think that would have been maybe my way to be like a little bit of looking around. But I think I agree with you that I don't know that I would go hard and dig. And I think as the raidee, I would definitely also hide everything, 100% hide everything.
It was a really unique circumstance because of Amy. And that she spilled some of the beans.
Yes.
You know, she said she found a warning that the other tribe might come, and that was her advantage. Bless her heart. Amy, come on. You were so good last week, and this week it just didn't really work out. They didn't believe you, and it just made your target bigger and made them lose trust in you moving forward. And that concerns me about Amy.
Exactly. That I mean, and she even said this, I'm getting in my own way or something like of that version. So I don't know why you would risk it because and you know what? I'll give Santony all the credit again that like she isn't like that she's coming off as so quiet or so maybe not as a gamer as she is to us. So to me I was like I wouldn't trust Santony to like hold it and not hold it against me because Santony will take, and that's what makes her a great survivor player is like she'll take anything that you give her and if she needs it turn it on your ass.
And we saw Santony say that when she confronted Amy a little bit later on, like, you effing lied to us.
Yes.
And I loved seeing that side of Santony.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I feel like. And that's a good moment for her to call it out, if that makes sense, because I think that it can get messy, but I think in those moments it's really good because everyone else is on your side. So then you're just like, this is fine. Everyone else is on my side, so I can go in a little deeper. And I like that she kind of like nudged Carla and was like, man, come on. Like, we know what happened.
I would have loved to see a confessional from Amy when Dino and Anesu got to the tribe and read the note that she lost on Immunity Island. And we saw the look on Amy's face and the trembling, inside of her, but I would have loved to hear her articulate what she was feeling and say how embarrassed she was that now she is known as a liar, which just last week she said was her biggest fear.
Yep. And so that's exactly how I feel, where I think so here's my another question, right? Like, you're seeing that like Survivor South Africa, the production, is not keeping anything on their end under wraps. Nothing, right? Like absolutely nothing. You've seen it with Theriso, where Theriso actively said, oh, I did not realize you would be outing me like this, right? So you've seen that once. And then so I think something else happened. Oh, and then Rainier, that whole moment.
Yeah.
So production is not keeping anything silent. So what makes any of these people think they're going to get away with stuff? That's what I'm just not. I don't know that it's clicked yet for them.
I think it clicks now. Yeah. After this and what happened to Carla later on in this episode, I think they all know they can't trust production.
Yeah, which again, I'm still not happy about. Like, I think, why do you need to just say we're here to raid your camp? Instead, they were almost doing Paul, I felt like it was like, give me your search papers. Like, I need the search
Hmm.
warrant. If not, like, this isn't gonna work. So and that, I think, also put the men, quote unquote, like, look like they're super in charge, because the men were
Hmm.
like, Sean and Paul especially, oh, Sean Paul, were like were like, we don't want, like, almost not, like, almost trying to negotiate, and like Dino and Anissa should have been like, we don't negotiate, we're terrorists, we just need this, goodbye, but, and I understand why they didn't, don't get me wrong, but still, I wish there was a little bit more back and forth,
Hmm.
but still, it was cute. And I again, Zamba, I think, came out winners
Yeah.
still, because they just kind of got punked.
And something I enjoyed seeing in the next scene when we're back at the Zamba beach, Rhaenyra is saying, "This was incredible." He's so happy
Hmm.
that the other tribe has dysfunction. And the biggest thing that stood out to me was when Tharizo says, "We're a solid unit."
Yes,
Did
I
you hear
actually,
that?
yep, and I wrote that down as well, because I was like, Thariso, what? Why'd you say that? Because yeah,
Hmm.
old Vuna, sorry, no, new Vuna is very much like, again, Rainier's face is very like, right. But this is a confessional moment, where in confessional, we're actually hearing what he's feeling. And I appreciate that. So he's killing it again, because he's
Hmm.
still loyal with the other people who still haven't been voted out, because Paul is, like, spoiler alert, got voted out at the end of this episode. So his ally is still fine, even after making this
Hmm.
pretty kind of major mistake. So I love that too. And that, but it very much was said, Paul and Chappie's flipped, just so y'all know. The boys are in charge. Just the way everyone, they were kind of, Aniso and Dino were giving the information, I was like, this is not good for Chappie's.
I was happy though with Tharizo's shout that it
Mm-hmm.
shows, I think, us that she has integrated herself into that tribe. And
Yeah,
the more their tribe is winning and not going to tribal, they're becoming a stronger group. And that means that
exactly.
she is with the numbers, which makes me so happy.
Yeah, I really, really hope so. Her and Kian. I'm
Hmm.
hoping that those two are fine and can get it together. And then we come back to Zamba, where Paul is talking about eating too much food. Or not Paul. Carla is talking about
Carla.
how much Paul eats. He apparently ate a whole sugar cane, and Carla is really trying to keep a straight face, not go back to her old self. And then she said, "You'll eat your way out of this game."
When she said that, I instantly became Team Carla. Throughout this
Mm.
episode, I've really enjoyed what she's bringing, and we're starting to see who she is as the
Yes.
player, not just as the pair alliance member of Mike.
Yes.
And I'm
Exactly.
liking this version of Carla.
Yeah, and it was always Carla and Mike, not Mike and Carla. Even though Mike and Carla sound better, but like, it
Hmm.
was always Carla before Mike. So I think literally her physically calming herself down, like, I think she's doing that with her gameplay, and I think she's actually like pausing, giving herself a second to breathe and not be like every however she was acting with Pine Tea.
Hmm.
And listen, I didn't forget what you said, Carla, but I think 100% I agree that this is like, she's definitely the hero in this episode.
Yeah.
Very much that. And then we get to the reward challenge, where I think this was just giggles all around for me. So, Jason, how do you remember seeing this at the challenge? I think it's Inferno or the Gauntlet. I can't remember, but anyway, where they're in Brazil, whichever one that was in, where it's the same challenge, where they had to like push each other on a pole, and at in on the challenge, the MTV show, you actually had to unhook a carabiner,
Mm.
um, and the stronger players actually got out because of it, because they couldn't unhook it. They, in their like adrenaline, they would yank it off, and like it was like a
Oh.
flag or something, so the flag would tear and they would get disqualified, and then the weaker one would win. So, and that's how Svetlana won, I think, one or two times, but same same almost
Mm.
challenge. So I thought it was funny. are you just like Kieran, Jason? If we could send 2 Marishas, we would.
I would have sent 4 Marishas if I could. She is the strongest person on the beach, no questions asked. She would beat everyone in that challenge except maybe Smash. He would give
Yeah.
her a run, but she would beat everyone else, no question.
100%. And I appreciate Dino like kind of picking fun at himself, where he's just like, like we picked the guy whose ass was the biggest because like we all know that Marisha is like the real star here. We just needed to pick another guy, basically. And it's Marisha's daughter's birthday, so I'm glad she won a rock star Big Brother moment, on my daughter's birthday. But yeah.
But before this challenge started, I actually felt bad for Dino that he had to go into this because he's not the what it looks like, physically strongest guy on his tribe, but no one else wanted to step up. We heard Kieran say, I don't want to do it. And we saw this confession from Tyson saying immunity challenges are more important.
Yep.
And that was one of the few things we heard Tyson say in this episode. So it really stood out to me. And I think Dino is just excited to compete. He's a big fan like we are. He just wants to get the full experience.
And I like that he made a joke out of it. Like, because I think if you're going to do a moment like that, you have to make it kind of like a fun moment. Or I feel like you would really end up like looking dumb. Not dumb. Yeah, dumb. Because you're not the strongest. You're not going to beat Chappies. So like, why try? And so I think Dino had the best approach and made him even more likable on screen, and I think within his tribe as well. So that was perfect. And then I just, again, poor Barda had to go against Marisha. Oh, that was so painful.
And she did well. She tried hard. She's a strong woman.
Yes, like no shade to her at all. And then basically it was even 1-1, which is how we thought it would be. And then it was the pairs against each other, and Marisha just was like, absolutely not. Like, let's go. Let's finish this. And then they get the fresh stop. So they go to, which it feels like very much 7-Eleven, if I'm right. So yeah, they get crispy chicken, snacks, smoothies. And this is our first almost bonding moment. Did you catch that, Jason?
Yes. I was very intrigued by this reward at the quantity of items they got to choose, about the option. Do you take 10 items for your tribe or 5 items for your tribe and 2 for each of you?
Yep.
And I didn't know what they would pick at first. I thought they would go with their choice of picking 10 for the tribe because Marisha is tribe strong.
Yeah, and she's definitely that.
Dino picked up on that and he says, I can create a bond with her in this moment. We are alone. The first time we're having a conversation, let's become a pair. And I am very curious to see how their relationship evolves moving forward because Marisha sees Dino as a more strategic player. He's a meat shield, but I think Dino sees Marisha as a physical meat shield. And they both see there's those threat levels. And then Nicole's in the mix. So I'm very curious to see how their dynamic evolves. I was also wondering with this reward challenge, I'm gluten-free, so I couldn't eat this crispy chicken. If my tribe won, like, did they have a box of grilled chicken behind camera that someone could have eaten?
Yeah, I'm sure like for dietary needs, like especially because they're like doing so well, keeping, kind of things going where they're just kind of like, we need to make sure that, they're getting a rain jacket and they get like a few things. So I think if they're going to do all of that, why wouldn't they have like gluten-free options?
Yeah. And the other silly question I just had when I was watching this that I thought of, because we've been talking about this in the last week or so with other on silent podcasts, is do you think they had any condiments to dip their crispy chicken in? Ketchup or mustard,
was it what,
ranch?
Yeah, people are very divided on ranch. Oh my God.
Please tell us in the comments, what you would say, what you would dip your crispy chicken in, and what would taste best on the island. Because it's different temperature there. It's not right out of your fridge. Yeah,
that's the realist. I would definitely, I think, want some like hot sauce, but not too hot either. And then, I agree that I think they did the good idea. They got some smoothies going, a bunch of snacks.
The trail mix.
Yeah, the trail mix. And then we see, actually, we get a little moment from Chappies, which, again, I agree with you that he kept saying, and this is kind of the setup for the episode, I feel like, where it's like men on Zamba, just speaking a little, not being so, like, aware of how they are towards women. So Chappie starts with like, he can't deal with Marisha. Like none of the women could go against her. Like she's so damn strong. She's the strongest girl out here. She's the strongest person, not girl.
I picked up
out
on
there.
that also and thought it was kind of derogatory for him to refer to her that way when she could beat everyone. And I'm on
She
the record,
did.
she would beat him one-on-one.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, Nico,
Sorry,
just do that.
Chappies.
No, I know. I was like, Nico, just do that. Like, let them just go one-on-one. I would love that. Like, honest to God, I would love that. But either way, it's fine. I guess we'll be fine. And I actually tweeted about this and I said Marisha is the strongest person. And Threeso tweeted back saying that she just thought it was so funny how he was acting and how she said, I think she was like, I giggled at how he was acting. So I loved that. And this is where Paul is digging his own grave a little bit, where he's sleeping. And Warda talks about, we worked so hard and, like the tribe is being really nice to us, even though we lost. But Paul's still sleeping. And yeah.
I bet he was just eating under that blanket, pretending he was sleeping so no one would see him snacking on the sugar cane. Let's be real.
That's so smart.
It's very smart.
If you're going to do it and you don't want to get caught, here you go, people. That's how you do it. And then
he's a game changer. Sorry.
Yep, let's go. Bring him back. No, I'm just kidding. And then Santini, we get her now. Now it's basically Santini time after this, but we get a time where Santini is talking very much about how Chappie's, they're all at the well, and Chappie's has a good heart, and Paul doesn't, and he cause a lot of chaos. So basically it looks like it's against it, it's between the two of them. And we get a confessional from Santini saying, she feels like very much a third wheel, and they, almost see her as like their, extension, and like she'll do whatever we want. So how are you feeling about Santini now?
I'm hearing Santini's greatest hits on the radio all day, every day. I was loving it. You forgot to mention, Sasha, that Santini was the person bringing them to the well.
Yes. Oh,
she started the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
She instantly put the target on Paul and built trust with the other women on her tribe. Something that stood out to me when she was talking about how they perceive her as being the third wheel is then she said, well, don't be surprised when I turn on you. If you treat me like a minion, don't be surprised at the outcome. And that shows me she's playing next, like 3D chess would be the right reference, I think, of what she's doing to them. And she's a step ahead of everyone else in the game.
Exactly. No, that's exactly what I was about to say, where I think they're trying to survive and she is thriving. I feel like where she is like, no, how do I get to day 39? It's not 39 days. Yeah. How do I get to the end? Like, that's how I need. And again, we'll talk about this later, but she actually says no pairs can stay. So I think, again, she's going to keep turning. I just hope that she does it in a way that's like stealth, so that she doesn't get outed, in that like, hey, Santini's actually the, person making these moves.
And I think her game really picked up after she returned from Immunity Island.
Yes.
And she's been the only person to use that as such a benefit to her game and giving her such confidence to create alliances and actively play, as everyone else has just kind of gone back to normal. They went to Immunity Island. They either won or they didn't win, and they're just going with the flow. And she is leading the flow. Yeah.
And I think she's using almost like, hey, I know where the idols are, because she has access to 2 idols. Right? Yeah, I think she has access to 2 idols. One at Tribal Council, which is gonna be wild when that gets used, and then one at camp. So that's why I feel like that aids her in being a little crazy. And that's what you want. If someone's gonna win idols, you don't want it to be a Chappies that you're like, of course, this or Sean, where you're just like, of course this person gets the idol, or Dino, even though Dino actually I think would cause some fun drama for us.
Yeah, and as we've seen in the last few episodes, Chappies see Santini as an ally.
Yeah.
And if he no longer has Paul, that means he sees Santini as a stronger ally. And so by her directing the vote to Paul, it's strengthening her bond with Chappies when he he is struggling to find bonds with anyone else other than her.
Exactly. And again, so here's where Chappie's hard work with her has now paid off, because she said Chappie has a good heart. I don't want to vote him out. So I think deep down, him putting in that work, calling her out that she went to Immunity Idol, is now finally gave him like a big payoff. So I will say, like, I don't want to sleep on that move of his either, because I think he definitely called that out and brought her in, and which is why last week she voted with him against Mike. And then we get a medic moment again where Sean has these wild hives. Why are they zooming in on this for us?
Before that happened, I wrote down in my notes, I was excited. Sorry to throw you off track.
No, please.
But Keon got a confession.
Oh, did she?
And I was so excited
to hear
God,
I didn't even know.
She was excited for the reward. But it was just so nice to see her on screen with positive content. And I just wrote in my notes, like, Keon confession, yes, with exclamation points on the rest of the line.
Oh my God, I love that. I have like Vuna is loving this, but I don't know what that's about. Like what I wrote that for.
So then back to Sean's allergic reaction.
Yes.
I felt so bad for him. They are zooming in, they're doing way too much. Showing us things we don't need to see, hearing way too much about what areas eyes are affecting. And I felt bad for him, and I was happy to hear him say, I want to be here. I'm gaining momentum. I can't be activated. And I think it showed us another layer of his awareness, really knowing what's going on, where it is in the tribe. And that the medics got there so fast. They were there, they had motion to do. Shout out to Driver South Africa. You are giving people sustenance and the tool to make it through the game. We hate medevacs. So thank you for keeping them in. I also just point out that Carl described Sean as looking like a superhero villain. And that stood out to me, that made me laugh. And as Sasha screams reloading, I just want to let you know the Marvel superhero villain that I think Sean looked like is actually Mephisto. And Mephisto is now infiltrated South Africa. Like he has been on, WandaVision, Captain and the Winter Soldier, and now Loki. So stay tuned for that as it's going on. Hopefully Sasha will be back on with us in a minute. But what happened next in the episode after they go to the immunity challenge and Sean has to sit out because he is medically unable to compete. He's very upset. He tried to ask Nick, can I compete? And Nico said, no, you have to sit out. But we also saw Rizzo and Nescu sitting out on the bench. There's three of them there. I think they were building an alliance. And I was surprised there wasn't a clue to an advantage or an immunity idol under that bench. Like we've seen in Cyber US. Because that is a thing. Maybe it was there and they just didn't look. They were too busy talking, having a great time, bonding until they could. But they didn't look. The challenge heard it. This was hard. They were pushing these blocks, running into a field to get these blocks that must have been 6 feet tall, like 6 feet wide. They probably around. I had no problem with this. He was easily able to push them with no help. It was easy. It wasn't easy for everyone else. Except for Smash and Paul. They ran out there and literally lifted the block off the ground and carried it like 50 feet. Everyone else pushing it over and over again. And Smash did the only thing Paul did in this whole episode. Smash lifted that block. Then it's happening more and more. Then the exciting part of the challenge happened. They get to the puzzles. This is when it was neck and neck. You could even say that the Zombie tribe had the lead at first. But Chappies and Paul tried to lead. They were doing the best they could. They thought they knew what was going on. Chappies is so smart. Paul is so smart. And it looks like Sasha is back.
I'm back. Sorry. Jason, I don't know if it's your internet.
We're just going to go off track.
Oh, no.
We're having some technical difficulties.
Sorry, everyone.
Apologize.
We're going to end the broadcast and just come right back. Okay, just kidding. Maybe Jason left. Okay, we're gonna figure it out. Sorry, not sure where Jason was. Apologies, everyone. I thought it was my internet, but maybe it's not. Either way, wanted to not sure what he's talking about, but wanted to give my perspective. So I'm loving again Santony. I think she's really making some moves here. Sean, I wonder if his hives are the reason why he has like slowed down a little bit. And creating Jason, not sure. Can you still hear me?
I'm back. Are you there?
Yeah, but I think you still sound a little robotic.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Sorry. What an adventure! It's a crazy.
Oh no, but I still think
was in this episode.
I still think your internet's not working. Yeah, because I think you keep freezing.
What about now?
And I'm watching on YouTube. Yeah, it's
Can you hear me now?
yeah, we can hear you a little bit, but you're frozen.
I have full strength for my internet, so this is very weird.
Sorry, everyone.
What about now?
Oh my god. This happens sometimes. Listen, joys of podcasting. We love to see it. We've never. All right, we might just come right back. Sorry, everyone.